Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's Tuesday tip, where in this week's video I have a couple tips for you on how to make your brake cables last longer. So right now we're looking at my brake setup, and you'll notice that it doesn't look exactly like most other brake setups, and that's because I figured out a couple different ways to make these inner cables last longer than they normally would. And this will work for both straight cable and gyro cables, both dual lower and double to single lower cables like the Odyssey cables. So to start off, I'm going to take my cable out of the brake arm and I'm going to show you my NARP setup, and then I'm going to show you this setup right here, and I'm going to explain why it's a little bit different than most brake setups and why it also makes your cables last way longer than other brake setups. I've got the cable out of the arm here, and you'll notice that I have a NARP on here that freely moves around the cable, and that's because I don't have the set screw in here. So pretty much what I've done here is take an excess of cable and wrap it through the hole that the cable normally goes through on the NARP, wrapped it around the NARP itself, and then put it through this setup here rather than using a set screw on the NARP. Because usually on brakes where you have to use a NARP, this is where the cable breaks, because you have to screw this NARP into the cable and pinch it off. And doing this just makes it weaker and gives it a pinch point that makes it much easier for the brake cable to fray and break off, not only when you're pulling your brakes, but also at all times, because it has this screw tightened against it and pinching it that doesn't let the cable pull back through this NARP. So setting this up is actually pretty easy. All you need is a cable inner that's unused and uncut, a NARP, and then a bolt with the hole through it like what you use with a straddle cable setup. Once you have all these things, all you need to do is take your cable inner and run it through the hole in the bolt, through the NARP, and then back through the outside, and wrap it around the NARP, then put it back through the same hole in this bolt, and then pinch this down so that there's no slack in it, right where I'm pinching right now, and then get it where you need it and tighten it down. Just make sure that you don't put the screw in the NARP right here. It's extremely simple to do, and when you do this, the cable is actually doubled up in this tighten spot, so that makes it even stronger yet. This is only the second cable inner that I've had to use with this setup since last summer, and the only reason that it broke before is because it broke right here on the other side of this NARP, and that's because somehow the NARP came out of my brake arm and was in here just like this, and I don't know how long it was like that, and I was pulling on it like this. Another good thing about this setup is that if it does break up here on this bolt area, all you have to do to use this cable for a second time is put a screw in the NARP and use it like you normally would, and it'll be exactly the length it needs to be. You just take it apart and take the bolt off of here. This method works great on any brake cable setup, whether it be dual lower gyros like I have here, or dual to single lower gyro cables like you see sometimes, or even straight cable setups. With the dual to single lower gyro cables and straight cables, you'll have a straddle cable setup here, and chances are you'll have a bolt like this already. And all you have to do to have a setup similar to this is have a second one of these bolts laying around, and you set it up exactly the same, where you run it through this the first time. Only the only difference is that you take that second bolt here and you wrap it around it where you would normally have this NARP at, and then you run it back through here, so that whenever you tighten this second bolt down, which is where the NARP would be, you're effectively eliminating the pinch point of having a single cable through one of these bolts and putting all of the stress onto where it's doubled up on itself and tightened down into the bolt exactly like this. To give you a little bit of a visual, it would look somewhat similar to this, with the bolt on the right side of your screen, of course, being tightened down and doubled up on itself on the cable. I just don't want to bend it too much because this is the cable that I'm using right now. Basically, the whole idea here is to make cables last as long as possible by taking as much stress off of the cable as possible and eliminating the pinch points caused by NARPs. Of course, you can't get away from having pinch points with a cable that has no end on it. You have to pinch it off somehow and keep it from moving. So for that, we reinforce it by doubling up the cable into this bolt and pinching it down that way. Of course, this isn't the only way to do it, and this isn't the only way to make cables last longer. So if you have any better ways, leave them in the comments below and maybe I can make a video on it in the future. But Either way, I hope you guys found this video useful, and I hope that it will make you break less cables in the future. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.